Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. What's the number one lesson you've learned about life?
I now listen to my body. I listen to my body even when my head's not caught up there yet. Something like, and especially, I don't know if I think it's just women. I think women instinctually know a lot of things. You have to listen to that gut instinct. And and every time I look back at times when I didn't listen to my gut, I was wrong. I should have.
Wow.
Every time I did, I was right.
Wow.
Yeah.
It must just build a lot of confidence within you.
You know, it's funny that you say that because my son and I had a conversation last week, and my gut is telling me something very strongly right now. And he's an extremely intelligent person. His
Okay.
gut is usually right as well, but we disagreed on this one particular item,
Okay.
and I'm interested to see how it's going to pan out because
No,
we're opposite sides. So,
no kidding. Oh, that is going to be interesting. But I
Mhm.
talk about that a lot within the female community as far as trusting your gut. And when you do, trust it and it works, and then you trust it and then it works, and it just builds confidence within you to be able to trust. I think a lot of our issue is we don't trust our own intuition. We're going around asking everybody else what we should be doing in our lives versus, going internally and asking ourselves, hey, what's authentic to me?
And that's interesting because since COVID, I've had to do a lot of rethinking because there haven't been weddings and events, and that's my income, right? So
Yes,
I like, and you really think about your purpose, like, why am I here? What am I doing, right? So yeah, it's interesting that you bring up that point.
definitely. We talked about personal development a little bit ago. And one of the things that I love to talk about, because I think that it is an issue that runs our world, but we don't necessarily ever talk about it. There's a lot of people that don't really understand it. And that's disempowering beliefs, belief systems that we have within us that has been handed down generation after generation after generation that no longer serve us, that are negative. I want to ask you, what was the most disempowering belief that you've had in your life, and what do you believe now?
Well, I think, and this won't be relatable to everybody, but I think growing up the way we grew up, um, allowing somebody else to control your thought process. So
Yes.
we're very when you grow up in a cult, your thought processes are really, they're none of them are your own. Like, you can't even you can't even have a sexual thought without this voice in your head saying you can't have this thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, disempowering was letting men control my thoughts through religion.
100%. What do you believe now?
I think it goes back to my intuition and gut instinct, right? I think that trusting myself, always thinking outside the box, um, and being able to know that you can make decisions for your own life. You don't have to follow what someone else is telling you. You have to follow or do.
Totally, I agree with that. I want to take a moment real fast to kind of give a shout out to the individuals that are hanging out and supporting us and listening to Angela and I. We so appreciate you being here. It's 1:45 here, so it's lunchtime on the East Coast, but I don't know where everyone else is. It's actually kind of lunchtime all over the place right now, actually. But I just want to say thank you so much for being here and supporting us. Angela, obviously they're here, obviously they're listening, they're intrigued. I'd love for you to kind of introduce yourself, let us know what you do, what's your business, and kind of how you help all the humans.
So it's interesting because back to my business coach, we had a conversation. Um, and I really felt lost because I had spent 24 years of my life building my event business, my wedding business. And I really felt like all of a sudden my purpose was gone because there wasn't the weddings and events. And although we are back into kind of planning a little bit, she really talked to me about, you need to think about your purpose. And once she said, you will be unstoppable once you think about your purpose, once you figure out what your purpose is. And what I realized through all of the exercises that she did with me was that um, a lot of people who grew up the way I grew up feel financially behind because they maybe didn't go after that big job when you're the big money, and now they feel they can't because they
Yeah.
don't want to spend 8 years in university or 4 years in university or whatever it is, and they feel financially behind. Like, we were never taught to think about retirement. We were never taught. We were we didn't have to worry about that because the paradise was going to be here and the new system was
Yeah.
going to be here. So we were never taught that. And I look at my parents now, and I mean, they're okay, but they could have been so much more financially ahead had they planned for retirement.
Yeah.
And in talking, and it's funny because I never really was active in any of the all of the social media platforms that deal with ex Jehovah's Witnesses or in cults or anything like that. But I felt this compelling need to help people, women especially, um, do something that they can do financially that anybody can do. So I had always, like I said, I told you that story about my little side hustle when I was 8 all the way through my teens, but I'd always done something in, like, I called it a side gig, some kind of network marketing business. And um, usually it was because I liked the product. I enjoyed the product and I wanted the product at a discount. So I'd sign up as a distributor. And if I had a friend that liked it, I never really promoted or made a lot of money at it. And when I really started looking at network marketing industry, there's really only a small percent that actually make the income that's possible, right?
Yeah.
Then I started to look for a different vehicle. I wanted a different vehicle that I could use myself to build financial residual income and also help other people do the same. And I found that, and I'm really, really happy with it. It's not a network marketing company. It's an American, actually a great company. It's American-made company. The company's morals and ethics really align with my own. And I had found through a lot of network marketing companies that um, they didn't align with me. Like, they didn't align with, like, they were money gougers. They didn't care really about their customers. They didn't care about their distributors. And so I really, that was important to me. I had to find a vehicle that I could use that, they cared about people. They cared about their customers. They cared about the planet. So yeah, now I'm marketing for, it's called The Wellness Company, and I market for them, and they have everyday products that everybody needs. So that was another thing. And they're not overpriced. So everybody needs toothpaste, everybody needs shampoo, everybody needs laundry soap, everybody needs dish soap or dishwasher tabs. And so our customers stay. They really stay because they love the products. They're better for the environment. They're less toxic. They're really environmentally aware, which I love. Less plastic for the continent, and the products are better for you as a person because the toxins, we don't realize how many toxins there are in our products that we have. Like, for instance, I didn't know that Tide, which is the number one national brand laundry soap, is full of carcinogens, and those carcinogens are banned in the UK. Tide has to have a different formula in the UK because they won't allow it in the formula that we have in North America. So once I start to learn about that, and I'm like, wow, so this is a win-win-win for everybody on all different levels, right? Because it's better for you, it's better for the environment, it's better for your pocketbook, and you can use the vehicle to make money. And the people that I'm working with on a day-to-day basis, we're all like-minded in that we want people to reach their financial goals.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what your financial goal is. Maybe some people, they only want an extra $200-300 a month, and that's great. Some people want significant income. They want $20,000 a month, and we have people that are doing that. So that's
So
awesome. I love it.
that's awesome. How long have you been involved with them?
So I've been a customer of theirs for a long time. And I just recently started really promoting it because of what is my purpose?
Yeah,
How can I be of service to other people? How
beautiful,
can I serve other people?
beautiful. That's awesome. What's the name of your event company, by the way?
It's called Frosted Events.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
So originally, Frosted Events that name came to me because we were doing everything. We were doing like wedding dresses, we were doing tuxedos, we were doing like all of the stuff, right? But I was also doing the events and the decor of the events and planning the events. And so I wanted a name that covered everything. We
Yes.
no longer do any of the clothing part of the business, but we do like tent rentals and like tables and chairs and all of that stuff. And we do decor and we do all of the planning.
That's great. That's a very visual name. Right,
Frosted
I
Events.
totally
Yeah.
yes, I totally appreciate that. Very cool. What does success mean to you?
So success comes in different levels, but for me, true success is when I can help other people. Honestly, like whether it's in pulling off the perfect event, that's a measure of success. Giving a bride and groom their dream day, that's a measure of success for me. But now through COVID, when I've had to repurpose and relook at that, success to me is if I can go to people who have had similar circumstances that I have and help them reach their goals, that's going to be my success.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. Very cool. I can relate to a lot of that.
I know, and in the conversation that we had together last week, I could hear it in your voice. Like we align in so many levels.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so your story has a lot to do with being your authentic self. And although your story encompasses religion and pulling away from that and kind of finding your own path as to where you're going to take yourself and your family, um, people may or may not um, be able to relate to that.
Yeah.
However, I think that there's individuals, females all over the place, who are in a situation right now where they're not being their authentic self. They're in a inauthentic marriage. They're going to school for something that they don't want to be going to school for because their parents are making them. Um, they're in a body that they don't necessarily appreciate, too thin, models, too big, whatever it is. And they're having to almost live this lie. They're living this lie of who they ought to be because of the people around them. And I would love to kind of close up or start to close up our podcast with asking you some advice as far as talking to the females out there who are in a situation where they're not able to live their authentic life and they're struggling with that. They're struggling with being able to use their voice through actions or verbally to be able to start walking where they actually want the path that they actually want, considering you have the same exact journey, different um, vehicle, but they're very, very similar. What would be some advice you'd give to them?
Well, if you look back on my story, my physical body was telling me something and I didn't listen to it.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate enough to have it pointed out to me, but I think you really have to be self-aware and you have to dig deep in yourself to figure, like you have to dig deep to be your authentic self. You have to know who you are, right? So you have to dig deep and figure out who that person is and what motivates you. And I think if you think about really what motivates you, and everyone if everyone could be given the gift of realizing their purpose, the world would be such an amazing place.
Yeah.
But you have to dig for that. And it takes digging and it's not comfortable. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. And the key is that it's going to be hard.
Hmm.
That's what people are scared of, that it's going to be hard. And it is going to be hard.
It is. And I will never lie to anybody because it is hard, but the rewards are great. The rewards are great. And what's the alternative? The alternative is living your life in whatever box you're put into and going through the motions every single day.
Yeah.
And I don't want that for anyone.
Yeah. 100%. I went to a Codependence Anonymous meeting last night. I go to those every once in a while because it reminds me of where I came from and how far I've come. Kind of humbles me a little bit. It makes me realize that there's people out there that need to hear us. There's people out there that need to hear our stories, because they're hurting. They're hurting because they don't feel worthy. They don't feel heard, and they feel used. And I so appreciate you sharing your story. I so appreciate you being open and vulnerable about, what you've been through. I think that sometimes we minimize ourselves and we minimize our story and what we've been through, thinking, you know, just is what it is. Like, that's just what I had to
Because
do.
we're strong. We do
Yeah.
that because we're
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah. So I so appreciate you. I so appreciate you coming on here, because there are, just last night, the meeting that I was in probably had 25 people in just this area, little room in Florida, of people who are struggling with this, who are struggling with being who they want to be, because there's so much pressure. There's so much pressure to be something other than they're not. So thank you
Thank
for
you
that.
so much for having me. And thank you for this platform because I, like you, feel it's really important. I
Definitely,
appreciate that a lot.
100%. So I am, first of all, the website for you is above your face.
Yep.
Is there any social media? Is there anywhere else, or can they just go to that link and find all the
Please connect with me on social media. I would love, even if you just want to have a conversation, if something resonated with you that you want to talk to me about, go to Angela Schlueter, any social media platform, and I would love to connect with you and have a conversation.
Beautiful, beautiful. So for those of you watching live, we so appreciate you being here. For those of you watching on the replay and making it all the way to this point, make sure you hashtag replay so that we know that you were here, and either Angela and I can give you a little bit of love virtually. I want to close up now. So thank you so much for joining us here at Her Version. This community is expanding every single day and is filled with females who are striving to do better than they did yesterday. For those of you that are new to this podcast, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. If you have an amazing story to share, make sure you reach out to me either here or at herversion.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I'm so grateful to be here sharing a platform that allows people to share their truth and inspire others. Do something